Hey guys, just got done watching Werewolf Rising from 2014 from Ruthless Pictures, and what can I say? It was bad, really, really bad. You know, if you like independent cinema, like I don't mind it, but if you like independent cinema, but you like it on like the extra cheap side, like. You know, like when you watch a project that people in college do, and they do a film, and sometimes it's really, really good, and other times it works out really, really bad. It's kind of like that meets Full Moon Pictures quality, but Full Moon Pictures quality feels better than this. So that kind of should tell you a lot, really. It feels like it was made with $250 or 30 quid or whatever. But there's no estimated budget, so. Anyway, let's go with the review, guys. This movie was only 76 minutes, this movie. And I really, really like the cover. I've noticed if you really, really like a cover, the movie's normally terrible. Oh, I'll tell you what this movie's like. Do you remember when you used to go to, do you remember when the video rental stores were big and you'd go into a video rental store and you'd walk in there and they'd have this real cheesy music playing like do 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 or whatever, or they'd have like a commercial on the screen like, and it'd be like of the latest big budget movies like I don't know what would be big back then. I don't know. So like Avengers or something, you know, like when you'd see it on the thing. Obviously that won't be in there because it's not man now. You get what I mean, though. But I'm talking about back in the DVD big days before Blu-ray. And you'd go around, you'd look at all the movies, and you'd go, "Oh, I fancy something different. Oh, I've never heard of this. Werewolf Rising. I like werewolf movies. I like I like Rising. You know, you'd be looking there, and you'd be like, "Oh, I might pick this up and watch it for a couple of nights. Not bad, you know." And this is what that movie reminds me of, where you point your DVD player, you put it on, you look at it, and you go, maybe I should have gone with the big budget movie instead. I just wasted $3. You know, but saying that, some of my greatest movies came from VHS rentals and stuff. I mean, a lot of ninja films you could never buy on DVD or VHS at the time. I mean, you could, but you couldn't find them because places like eBay and that weren't big back then. You found them at car boot sales and stuff. I miss those days of finding movies at car boot sales, not knowing anything about them. Anyway, I've got to get on with the review. So, the movie stars Brian Berry, Melissa Carnell, Matt Kopko, Taylor Hornman, Daniel Lozio, Irina Murphy, and Bill Oberst Jr., and that's the whole cast. The movie was directed by BC Furtney and directed by BC Furtney. So it was directed and written by him. So basically what happens is at the very beginning, Christina, played by Daniel Lozio, is being threatened by Bill Oberst Jr., who's playing Rhett. In the car, she goes, "Thank you," because he says, "I'm going to let you out of the car." Well, he lets her out of the car, and he starts trying to do things to her. And all of a sudden, you see this creature looking out from like the bushes, and it looks like really bad soup that you can get for Halloween. I don't know, and that tells you a lot already. So basically, this thing jumps onto Rhett and basically on him. But what I liked about the werewolf was when you look through the werewolf's eyes, they were red. Like the screen was red. I like that. I thought that was a good tone. I thought that was great. So basically, it's correction fee, and Christina starts to try and run off. But sadly, the werewolf gets her, kills her, and then we get introduced to Emma, played by Melissa Carnell, who's basically driving home to her family cabin. And there's a whole lot of talking she's doing while she's driving, like, "I'm coming home because I want to get away from the big city to help myself stop being an alcoholic. My life has been in wrecks, but now I think it's going to get better. So I'm going to stay at my family's cabin and become a good girl. And you're like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. And then like the next 30 minutes is all drama. There's no horror, it's just drama. She bumps into her old friend Wayne Dobbs, played by Brian Berry. And she tells him about her alcohol problems and all this. And he goes, yep, I've been there, but I don't drink the hard stuff anymore. And you're looking at his belly, and you're looking at him, and you're thinking, do you really not drink that anymore? Yep, you look like the type that still does. So anyway, he talks to her, and he gives her a gun. And you're like, okay. I think he wanted her to commit suicide. But anyway, so she basically gets home and all this, and she starts meeting Johnny Lee, played by Matt Kopko. And he kind of flirts with her, and he says things like, oh, if I knew that weren't your car, I'd have driven off in it. And she giggles. And basically there's a little bit of chemistry going on. Fake chemistry, but chemistry, you know. It's supposed to be a love interest. So he walks off, and then you see Wayne again. He comes round, and basically he fixes some stuff for her, like locks and all this other stuff. And says, nothing's going to get in here. This house is not going to have anybody getting in, unless they got the key. And you're sitting there going, they could jump through the windows. The windows are easy. The door looks like you could kick it. But anyway, it looks like, you know, I tell you what the place looked like. It was a house on the outside, but it looked like you know those cabins you can buy, those cabins are office cabins, where they look so cheap you look like you could punch through the wall. That's what they look like. That's what it looked like inside. So he hugs her a bit too friendly, like, and he goes, when are we having dinner? And she goes, oh, dinner? And he goes, yeah, what time? And he goes, 7:30? And she goes, sure. So he goes round the next night, and he's drinking wine. And she goes, you've gone through that wine pretty quick. And he goes, it's not as if it's the hard stuff, right? And you're like, this guy's an alcoholic. Yes. So she goes, oh, you know, she tells about, oh, you know, things are rough with men. And he goes, plenty of men out there would want you. I want you. And he looks at her like this. Like I'm looking at you right now, like. Oh dear. And she goes in the kitchen and goes, I think you need some water. And he goes in the kitchen, he tries it on with her. And she tells him to get out. So he leaves. If only that was the end of it. So then she finds out that Johnny Lee basically lives in an old abandoned, what looks like a church to me, because it has like a symbol on it, a religious symbol. But it could have just been a house that was abandoned. And she basically, I guess she's falling in love with him. So you see him there at night and you hear this. Well, that was bad, but it's supposed to be howling. And he goes outside. Well, he doesn't go outside. She gets up and goes. And then you see him laying on the floor with big scratches across him, like a werewolf scratched him. And she gets there. Emma gets there and she goes, what happened? And he goes, blah, 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 blah. She gets him on the back of the quad bike, which amazed me, gets him to hers. And she says to him as they're in the thing, I know who you are. You escaped from prison. You're a fugitive. But I don't care about that. I just want you to get better. Now, what was he a fugitive for? What did he do? You're sitting there going, what if he murdered women? So he goes like this, and she thinks he's dead. She goes outside, cries on the porch, and you're sitting there going, and the whole way through this movie, you get like these really bad kind of Halloween, crappy versions of the tune. Do 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 do. And you're just like, oh no, this is awful. So she goes back in, he's gone. And you know where he is? He's in the bathtub cleaning himself. And I'm like, but you died a minute ago. And that's true, because he becomes a werewolf, you see. So she washes him in the bathtub. He's naked. She's like, oh yeah. You could tell the chemistry was building there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, boy. And he's like, and he's in bed, and she goes, are you doing okay? And he goes, and she goes, if you were dying, would you tell me? And he goes, no, because I'm stupid. He doesn't say the stupid bit, but he goes, no. And he goes, then he grabs hold of her and kisses her, and you're like, what if he's got rabies? What if he got rabies and be scratched? Stupid. So then he starts acting weird. He goes outside and starts up a fire and goes, I'm going to sleep out here tonight. And she brings out the gun and goes, you better get back in there, Johnny, because there's werewolves about. And he goes, nah, I'm not used to this. I'm used to sleeping in the cold. So it gets really creepy, and he runs off. And then he turns into a werewolf, goes for her. She locks the door, hides in the cupboard or closet. And what's in there? Alcohol. So she opens up, like, glug, 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 and you're like, blood in hell. You're like, this poor woman, poor Emma. She was doing all right, and now she's drinking. Then you see Wayne in a bar, and he's drinking, and he's getting pissed. He's getting drunk, and you're like, well, you're not doing much good, are you? The best part was that they were drinking at the same time. But it gets worse. Basically, what happens then is Wayne decides he's going to go and see her because he needs to talk to her. Because he needs to tell her how he feels, and that she didn't understand, and that she's just a woman. So he goes on his merry way, and basically he turns up, knocks on the door. She opens the door, and he says to her, he knocks on the door, and Johnny turns up, and he goes, hey, Uncle Wayne, and you're like, oh, it's his uncle. And then they basically get in a thing, and something about how, and he goes on about how Emma's too old for him, and how you can't get done for statutory rape if you do. Son over 18, and you're sitting there going, so is he saying that Wayne is a paedophile and that he likes young girls? And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I don't feel so bad for Wayne now. And then Wayne shoots him. And you're like, what? He shoots him multiple times. He gets the werewolf eyes, Wayne, and then Johnny gets the werewolf eyes, like, and then Wayne goes bang, 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 bang. Emma goes, oh, and he shoots her, bang, right in the shoulder, and you're like, bleeding now. Why he shot her and all? So then Rhett turns up, who we didn't see since the beginning of the movie, Bill Oberst Jr. And he's sitting on the truck in like a cat position, and he goes, hello, and he goes, who are you? And he goes, me and Johnny were in prison together. And he escaped with me. He went, more tagged along, and he was really cool. He jumped off, and he says something to him like, are you going to shoot me? And Wayne goes, I thought so. And he puts his arms up like this, and Wayne shoots him. And you're like, for someone who's just killed 3 people, supposedly, he looks very cool about it. He puts the gun in Rhett's hand, shoots off a couple of bullets with it, and then he sees Emma still alive, and he stands over her because she's face down, starts strangling her. And you're like, I thought you loved this woman. I thought you wanted to be with her, Wayne. So I'm sitting there going, oh my word. It's not just a crappy movie, but it's also got crappy characters. So then a werewolf goes and jumps him, and kills him basically. And then Emma goes back in the house and the werewolf's chasing her and she runs through the woods. And the werewolf's running like this. Like the old horror icons. You know the old horror films where they used to run after and they'd be like, it was like that. And the costume, seriously, the werewolf costume seriously looked like it was like a fancy dress costume. It was like gorilla looking with just a mask on there, but looked like it was sort of a very cheap movie back in the 60s. So he's chasing her down. Rah, 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 rah. Well, she starts getting weak because of the bullet shot in her arm. And she comes across Beatrix. Beatrice. Who's played by Arena Murphy. And she starts going to her, he wants me. I spoke to him all this time because I knew he wants me. Let him choose who he wants. And you're like, what? Well, the werewolf turns up, pushes Emma out of the way. Irina Murphy takes her thing off and reveals probably one of the most perfect set of breasts I've ever seen in my life. And she's standing there naked. She's going, take me. And I went, oh, well. And then I forgot she was talking to the werewolf. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, is he going to take her? And he lifts her up and he bites in her neck like a vampire. And I'm sitting there going, what? What? So he lifts her up off the floor like this. He pulls her close and he bites on her neck. I'd like to if he'd have knocked her over and bit her stomach out or something. Because the werewolf in this never is on all four legs. Never. Never runs on four legs. Always running like this. So then basically the werewolf changes into Rhett again. And basically Rhett is over Emma. And he goes, I knew your father. No, sorry. He goes, you've got something inside of you that your father had inside of him. With blood dripping off him and everything. He's like, let it out, Emma. Let it out. And he's laying beside like, and then you see her sit up, you see her do like these things where her back goes boom, boom. And she sits up with the werewolf eyes. And then that's the end of the movie. So you're sitting there going, what was the whole point of this movie? Well, there was no character development really, other than the pedo. And they were prisoners, and two of them were escaped convicts. It was basically a three-man show. Brian Berry, Melissa Carter, and Matt Kopko most of the time. Oh, the werewolf was played by Taylor Hornman. But, you know, I'm just sitting there going, the script is terrible. The characters are dreadful. The acting feels really forced. And they just feel like they've just turned up. They look like they've just come from a homeless shelter and been told, if you do these lines, we'll get a free meal. Okay. So what do you want to do? I've stopped becoming an alcohol. I've stopped becoming an alcoholic. This is what the acting was like, ready? I stopped being an alcoholic. But I think I forgot my line. Oh, that's right. I think you're an alcoholic. You know, it was like that. It was false. It was horrible. Absolutely dreadful. The cover is really nice, but the bloody film is terrible. 76 minutes, you can't do anything in that. And after about the first 20, I was like, come on. Because there was no real, like, you could have done really, they could have done a lot more with a werewolf story. You know, we all want that amazing werewolf story of now. Is it going to happen? It doesn't look like it. I don't know. Maybe there is one, but I haven't seen it. If there is, let me know. But I'm just sitting there going, what am I going to do when I review this movie? What am I going to say? The actors and actresses in it were terrible. Bill Ops Jr. is just over the top. There's a dream sequence with Emma where she dreams and she sees him and she's going like this through the woods, like, and he's going, And you're like, what the hell? What's he trying to do? Say he wants to have sex with her or something? You know what I mean? I was like, what? And then she wakes up. But it's so bad, it makes the worst independent movies look like they've got a $1 billion budget compared to this. Seriously looks like a college project, even though it isn't. The best part of it was seeing Irina Murphy naked. Uh, I just didn't like any of the characters. The story was in the same 4 settings. It was stuck. It was just felt really cheap, you know. And they're meant to. I think this is one of those films that people who like really low budget films would love. And I think they'd appreciate it a lot more because, you know, people do like really low budget movies. But it's one of those movies that I watched and I was like, there's no real action in it. It's more dramatic. And when the action does happen, the werewolf looks ridiculous. And the story just ends like all of a sudden. It was like watching a really bad episode of Tales of the Crypt, but for 76 minutes instead of 23 or 25. So yeah, that is my review of Werewolf Rising, guys. It's not a good movie. I give it a 1 out of 5 because I did get through it, and a part of me did enjoy it a little bit. I didn't enjoy it in a fun way, but I enjoyed it in making fun of it and thinking it was one big laugh, you know. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Check it out if you like really low budget movies. It's a real stinker, so just remember that if you do. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Have a lovely day, and thanks for watching.